All right, guys. Before we talk about tomorrow, I just want to mention one more thing on today's, like the clean pull from the floor. Remember, that is not a clean. A clean pull is like you do everything except pull under the bar. So it's basically you can think of it almost as like a speed deadlift, and so that's why the percentages are so high. I'm not expecting you to do obviously a clean with 20% of your 120% of your max. It'll be a massive PR, but it's just these are just position work for the pull. So it's like a pull from the floor, then it's a pull from mid thigh. I just want you to really emphasize producing lots of force at a high rate at that mid thigh pull. So it's because that's what that is the position that you're going to produce the most force when you do the Olympic lifts. Now, let's move on to tomorrow. So the yo-yo clean, I'm going to put a detailed video up in my story, so you guys will have that. But it's really just position. And here's what I want you to understand: don't even worry about the percentages. Just go easy. It's supposed to be super light, and it's working on positions. It's really just working on that first pull. And so if you don't know the first, second, third pull, right now in my story, there's a link to an article all about first pull, second pull, third pull. So don't get caught up in percentages, especially on Tuesday and Thursday. Those days are just for technique. This is to worry about the pull. On Tuesday is to worry about the positions of the mainly of the power position, and then the where you should end in the first pull. Anyway, so now let's talk about bench press. This is dynamic effort day. You're going to 4 sets of 5 at 75%. Now, don't even sweat it. If you don't have bands and chains, you could literally do what I would do is drop 5%, go 4 by 5 at 70% and go straight weight. Otherwise you can do 50% plus 25% and use the bands and chains. And if with the number you're going to shoot for, if it's at 75%, you really want to beat probably 0.5 meters per second if you have velocity. And that's another thing too. When I put, like in the military press, when you see 0.5 meters per second, 8 RPE, 80%, it's not meant to be confusing. It was meant to be no matter what you do. If you're a percentage person, you've got your load. If you're an RPE person, you've got your load. If you're a velocity person, you've got your load. And also to see how they work together. So in the standing military press, you're going to work up to a 5 RM, 8 RPE. 8 RPE means you worked up to something for 5 that you could have done 7 times. So probably going to be around 80%. And then, and if you have velocity, it's probably the first couple reps is probably going to be 0.5 meters per second. That's all. So choose one of those and go with it. If you don't know what your max is, just go with RPE. Work up with something that's kind of heavy, because then next week you're going to go to probably 9 RPE and you'll go a little heavier. So definitely don't go anywhere near failure. That's the key. And then you'll drop 10%. You'll subtract 10% from whatever you hit and do 2 sets of 5, really emphasizing the velocity of the movement. And so pull-ups here or pull-downs, whichever one you want. You get if you feel very strong and you can do pull-ups, go 3 by 8, 8 to 9 RPE. If you want to do pull-downs, if you don't have a cable machine, you can do band pull-downs. You can do pull-ups with bands. Whatever works for you. Personally, if you want to get better at the pull-ups, skip all of this. If you can't do 3 by 8, do a hanging pull-up and try to shoot for a minute. Once you can do a hold for 60 seconds and lower yourself slowly, you could probably do a pull-up. But anyway, now the 4A, 4B, that's a superset. So you're doing seated dumbbell power cleans, and I will find a video for you for this one. But this is from Louis. It's really emphasizing getting the elbow up and then external rotation. That's the key. Your elbow should be high. It should be straight out from the shoulder, and then should be rotating at the shoulder. And then with face pulls. Personally, when it comes to face pulls, I also emphasize external rotation. So I'll find 2 good videos for that and put them up in my stories. But here you're working 3 sets of 12 in between 8 to 9 RPE. Just work up a little bit as you go. So definitely shouldn't be hard. And like today should have been super easy. I just want to reiterate, that should be super, super easy. You're working up to 1 rep at 9 RPE, meaning you worked up to 1 rep that you could have doubled, and you drop 15% and do 3 sets of 2, so it's low volume. And then the front squat is 1 rep at 7 RPE. It's just working on the positions. So I definitely, should not, if it looks very hard, you're probably reading it wrong. So the only day will be hard will be Mondays and Fridays. Friday will be a little bit harder because it's going to be higher intensity. Mondays will be higher volume. So, that's what on Tuesday through Thursday, it should not be hard. If you think it's hard, you've read it wrong. Ask me a question and we'll figure it out together. We're in this thing together, guys.